Hello, YouTubers, and all that's happening to watch. I've been doing quite well. So this is a periodical pickups video of sorts. So I ended up picking up a couple of items. Again, all the items here picked up were basically affordable, and one of them was a gift. First item here, or items technically, was the MK345 set. So a nice little wireless Logitech combination. Comes with one little dongle there, but essentially pretty darn nice as a mouse and keyboard set. Have not had no use for the mouse at all. Like, I don't use it, period. I mostly got it for the keyboard. Now, the keyboard itself, however, is pretty spectacular. This is not like any sort of clickety-clack keyboard. There's no, micro switches in it or anything of that nature. It's just a regular old soft keyboard. But as terms of what I need it for, it's great. I mostly use it for my laptop sitting over here, and I'm able to kind of just sit back and just browse the web and all that. And I already got this Bluetooth mouse here just kind of chilling, so I use this for my regular mouse. And for those who have never seen this one, this is the Basilisk V3X. Really great mouse. This one here is kind of sitting on standby, so just in case I need a mouse for anything, it's all ripping and ready to go. I'll just have to get an extra dongle or something of that nature and just, hook it up that way. Otherwise, really great combination. Even this mouse feels decent in the hands too. Again, it's a very straightforward mouse as well, so it's not like, spectacular, but for a little punch, it's nice. It's not bad. But again, I just keep it over there in the cup. It just sits there. Mouse in a cup. Go figure. Disney will probably be on it soon. So the next item here was something I got in the mail more recently, and that right there is ZPC, which is zero population. Right there. Or zero population control, I believe it was. So this right here is the Mac version. Now, I accidentally grabbed this, so it was super cheap. And I was like, oh. So that's how I won this one. It was sort of one of those victories. So, again, runs on a Power Mac, I believe it was. Let me see. Yeah, one of the Power Macintoshes. So it runs off one of those. This runs off of the Marathon engine, which if you've never heard of Marathon before, that's one of Bungie's first FPSs, and actually it's really damn good. The first game, if you're very iffy about searching on the web, is on Steam. At least the first game is. The second game, the first, second, and third game were open source or available open source a while ago. So Bungie gave permission to a place called Alpha Zero, I believe it was. And they released all of the 1, 2, and 3 as freeware, not abandonware, that little coined phrase tossed around like it's loose change. But you get the idea. So, again, came with just this. I didn't get the boxed edition or anything. Just a very straightforward version of this. I was trying to get the DOS version of this one here, and I wasn't paying attention. It was my own fault. I mean, I could still try to get this to work fine, but it's basically more of the same of Marathon. Plays exactly like it. I'm surprised that the team who put together Marathon didn't try to get this one as well and goof with it, because I don't think Bungie would give a shit about this one. They were like, oh, okay, go ahead. But yeah, this one here particularly is really cool looking. Like, I've watched the streamer I do watch, a buddy of mine named Avium Havoc, or Arium Havoc, excuse me. And he played it, and I was like, oh yeah, that game. And I remembered it, and I forgot all about it again. And then he brought it up again. I was like, oh shit, that was what I was supposed to look for. And I looked for it. It was super cheap. I was like, okay, I'll grab that one. And I grabbed it real quick. Reason why it was so cheap, the real story here, is because it was the Mac version. And collecting for the Mac, while it's not crazy expensive per se, finding a working Mac or a Power Mac is probably not going to be that cheap, because there's a heavy amount of collectors for those particular kind of computers, or those, those Macintoshes. They're not cheap. They're not. They're just not. No. You could probably just emulate the thing just fine, probably, maybe, perhaps. Um, but that's about it. But the next one here was actually a gift. A big humble thank you to the giftee. But this one right here, I was actually saving it for stream at some point. And that is Monu. And I have to read this one here off the box because I can't remember every single bit of this front box here. Girlfriend already said, she told me this was actually based off a light novel, which again, I'm oblivious to the light novel, to be honest with you. But it looked really good from the gameplay clips and pieces I've seen pop up before for this one. But again, it's called the Monu. Defeat monsters and gain strong weapons and armor, for you may be defeated, but don't give up. Become stronger. I believe there will be a day where the heroes will defeat the Demon King, or the Devil King. So, I've heard mixed opinions about this one, with experience in their games. They're usually very loose change. They're not horrible games, nor is this one from what I understand. This is one of those games where it's actually blessed with some decency. So it's actually a good game. It's not like you're not going to get the Rolls Royce treatment of a dungeon crawler. And I'm a huge fan of dungeon crawlers, so that's why I like collecting them. So jumping into this one, I'm like, oh, okay. And it was like a other one as well, which it's called Labyrinth, I believe it is. I think it's Labyrinth. I gotta look again after, but because again, I'm kind of getting dozy off of some melatonin here. But basically, looked really good. I'm a big fan of the art style in this. Little chibi characters. Thought that was adorable, so that's why I grabbed it. I'm mostly a bigger fan or a larger fan of a lot of the older CRPGs of the PC era, which is like games like Anvil of Dawn. So games around that realm, again, Eye of the Beholder, that example if you want another one, that type of realm of CRPGs, including even the other one that's kind of obscure, the Dracula game, or Brimstroker's Dracula, which is actually a first-person dungeon crawler, which is surprising. You're like, what the fuck? You don't expect it, but it actually is, and it's pretty good. And so you're like, oh, even the evil one, which is more of a adventure game, which is Elvira. Those two games are brutal. Like, I can't even barely finish them. The first time I've ever completed the Elvira one, I was pouring sweat on my face. First was because of the cover. I was like, rrr. Secondly, it was because the game is just brutally hard. If you never played the game before, it's available on GOG. Just buy it on there. Don't try to bootleg it. There's no point. It's available. Damn it, it's cheap. And just grab it off GOG. It's $6, I believe, and your life will be happier. Hard game, though. I'm just going to want you head forth, hard-ass game. Just grab it off of there, though. Last game I'm going to show you here is actually a memory of mine. This was something that my brother got originally back in the day, and I absolutely adored this game unconditionally. Every chance I could, I tried to play this one, and that was FX Fighter. Now, this is obviously not the exact copy, but I got this one super cheap, so I had to dive on it. But again, FX Fighter is one of those incredibly cool fighting games off the PC. This one didn't really touch the consoles necessarily, but it was basically the calling card for Virtua Fighter for the PC, though. Now, obviously, it was kind of a nod towards that, but it was also its own thing, too. And I gotta say, it actually had some really good soundtrack going for it. The comic book and everything like that, I'll show you inside the box real fast. Like, everything about this box art was just cool, right? But in terms of style, this box definitely just Rolls Royce. Absolute Rolls Royce of box art here. Alright. So it comes with a reference card, the comic book / manual. So again, you can see right here, very simple to understand. These controls are super simple to kind of get the hang of after a while, especially if you just play it on keyboard. Give you a chance to kind of look at that. But yeah, it runs off of MS-DOS 5.0, as you can also see in the back of the reference card there, but runs on a pretty easy to set up, MS-DOS setup here. A really great game otherwise. Like, this is actually one of my favorite fighting games. And I'm not a huge fan of fighting games necessarily. Like, I have a few personal favorites, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Gundam Battle Assault. But, yeah, like, really cool. Like, it's basically, again, it has, like, the controls and everything like that. How the game sets up. Yada, yada, yada. So, again, it's like your usual manual. And on the inside, which it just comes with a jewel case. Little screens in the back there. Really kick-ass art. That typical 90s style artwork there in the back. But really cool game. Like, it's a shame it didn't get much more traction than it did. But again, for those PC fans out there who got wind of it or even heard of it, they would probably enjoyed it. Or unless they just weren't a fighting fan, which is completely respectable. But it was an easy to pick up and understand one. It wasn't like a complicated, like you're freaking trying to solve calculus type of fighter. But it's definitely one of the more easier to pick up and play ones. I think there's still little tournaments going on for this game too. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I saw something for like weeks ago. But again, absolutely favorite box art right here. Finally able to get it, and affordably. So that's icing on the cake. But that is all for those pickups there. Picked up a couple things. Again, I'm going to try to do these periodically as I can. Again, I'm simply just paying off my bill at the moment, so can't really do much in terms of spending. Once that's all paid off, obviously, I'm going to try to slowly creep into collecting, and that's it. But again, if you liked the video, as always, thank you kindly for just stopping on by, and be sure to follow. So, subscribe, hit that bell, blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing if that little thing there lights up when I say it. But for now, take care.